Hello sunshines, welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on all the internet places, and today's video is my May 2026 finished objects. I am pretty excited about what I'm finishing this month. So let's start with my first finished object of the month, which is the wedding blanket. Pattern by NSP Designs. It's called Side by Side and it is lovely, and this one is huge. I used 5 skeins of loops and threads, their version of like a Karen 1 pound. It's linked, or it's listed below what it is. I used 5 skeins of that almost to completion, and I started it in December. I finished it this month. It is a gift for my cousin for her wedding. I used a size K hook. Is that right? Or a J hook? I don't know. But I'm super, super pleased with how it turned out. I think even though it's got a couple different cable patterns and texture patterns, I think it's pretty memorizable. I did a lot of this while I was reading with not too much difficulty, so I think that this is a really, really great like adventurous beginner pattern. If you know basics of crochet, I think you could make this. It does have both written instructions and charted instructions, and it has left-handed instructions and right-handed instructions, which is really, really thoughtful and really fantastic. The pattern designer did that because she's left-handed, and left-handed things and right-handed things don't look the same when you are making them. So this is the first finished object of the month. I'm very excited. The next thing that I finished is this pair of socks for my coworker. The yarn is 716 knit 716 sock in the colorway. Thank you for taking what I just said earlier and screaming it in my face. Screaming it back at me. If I think about it, I'll take a picture of the card, but it'll definitely be written down below of what that colorway is called. But it's just this beautiful aqua blue and purple. It's super pretty. The pattern would be rye socks if you were going to try to emulate this sock. I didn't actually follow the rye sock because like it's a garter stitch panel down the front of a sock, and I can do that without reading someone else's numbers. So that's what I did. Used US size 0 needles. There are 2 of them. I don't know if I adequately showed that. I think they turned out so pretty. Hopefully they fit my coworker. I also finished the Mickey the Mermaid using Miss Babs Yowza Mini in Rainbow Carwash and Knit Picks Stroll Horchata. I ran out of the horchata colorway before I finished the head of the mermaid, so I had to substitute by using the Rainbow Car Wash colorway, which meant that I then couldn't make, this is supposed to be the hair, but I think it looks like a cute little swim cap, so I think it's fine. And I embroidered on the eyes. I think she turned out super, super cute. Because I was using the DK, the Miss Babs Yowza is a DK, I held the horchata color double the Knit Pick Stroll, so I held it double. So it's, you know, a little bit thicker. She's a little bit bigger than the pattern because the pattern calls for fingering weight yarn. I think she turned out so cute. So cute. Hopefully my daughter's cousin will like her. Look at that little mermaid fin. I think she's cute. I Other modifications I made were the body of the mermaid in the original pattern. Like this part is just skin colored. There are like arm wrist band things that you work into the pattern on the original. I omitted those. I also didn't make, there's the mermaid has a hat, like a little sailor's cap. Not a sailor's cap, really. Oh, maybe, yeah, like kind of like a sailor's cap sort of thing. I omitted that, and there's also a flotation device that I did not make. But I think she's cute. I think it's fine. Look at her. She's very cute. I also made this headband for myself because my one new crocheted headband wasn't enough, because apparently I need to wear headbands every single day now, which makes sense because my classroom is chilly, and if my ears get cold, I get sick. So even though it's not chilly now, my ears are still kind of like, but is it really not chilly? Are you sure? So I'm still wearing the headband. Oh, and then I finished a white and cream baby blanket. Oh, that's the back. Ta-da, ta-da. I just finished it right before recording, so I haven't woven in the final end. All of the other ends I wove in as I went, because I don't like having to go back at the end of a project and weave in ends if I can avoid it. I'd rather weave in ends as I go. But this is the Star Ripple baby blanket. Nope. Rainbow Ripple baby blanket by Celeste Young, and it makes just a really cute blanket. I used 2 different creams. I don't know what this yarn is. The center yarn, I don't know what it is. This is Caron Simply Soft in a cream color, and then this outside was Caron Simply Soft in white. I don't have very much yarn left. The ball is maybe like this big, which like might look like a lot, but it's definitely not enough to do another round on this blanket. So I am pretty pleased with that yarn usage, and I'll be back when I finish something else. Oh no, wait, I'll be back right now to talk about something else. I also finished listening to an audiobook called Fae and Fair. It's the second book in the Wandering Inn series by Pirate Abba, and I enjoyed the book. However, it is very, very long. It's 60 hours. Not a bad thing, but there is a lot of world building in this book, like more than there was in the first book. Like obviously there was some world building in the first book because the premise is that people from our world get transported to a different world, which is kind of like a D&D or video game world. And so there has to be some world building, but it went more into like the mechanics of the world. There was a chapter that was longer than an hour that literally just talked about how there was a leveling system. And it wasn't like a narrator just talking about the leveling system. It was one of the people from our world talking with one of the people from the world they got transported to about how levels worked and stuff, because people actually know what their levels are. Like it's a known thing. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all of that information. But I was listening with Andrew, my boyfriend. He was just like, oh, you can throw your audiobook on. It's cool. And it was that chapter, and it just kept going. And I was like after a half hour, I was like, I'm really sorry. Like this is interesting for me, but like as someone who has not read it all the way, like this is probably really boring. And he was like, yeah, I got lost a long time ago. And it's like, sorry. But he still let me listen to it instead of like turning on a show or turning on music. Not he let. Like that's not He doesn't let me do things. I just do things. That was a weird word choice. I guess he and I chose together that we would continue listening to the audiobook. I don't know. That's weird. I don't like the way that sounded. I don't know how to say it better though. So we continued to listen to the audiobook anyway through the end of that chapter. And then we turned on a show. Okay, I'll be back in for you just a second with something else that I finished because I have two things that are pretty close. Hey, sunshines. It's now the 17th of May. I don't know if I've been saying the dates on these as I'm talking about finished things, but it is hot today, so I'm a little glowy because I just washed my face and put my lotion on. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. But finished things. So I have, if you saw my weekend vlog, you will have seen that I finished the baby blanket, the pink one. So they're both done now. It's very exciting. I did show you the white one, didn't I? I'm pretty sure I did. I hope I did. So they're both done. This was made out of Karen 1 pound. The purple color is lilac. I don't remember the pink color. I think it's soft pink, but I could be mistaking that for a different yarn that I used earlier this year. It is finished. It is washed. I'm going to give it to its recipient very, very soon. Also, a slightly unexpected finish this month, the partying it up and getting down sock. So this is where I was on the second sock at the beginning of the month. So I had the whole foot to do. I had the heel to do. You will have seen that I had a little misadventure with the length of the foot. So I had to rip out the toe on the first sock and re-knit, but I'm happy with it now. Hopefully they will fit my aunt. I think they turned out really, really cool. They're called partying up and getting down because on one sock, well, let's do this one first. On one sock, we have partying up where the chevron points up the leg, and on the other, you have getting down where the chevron points down the leg. It's a really fun pattern. I've made probably 4 or so pairs of it. Is this my 5th pair? I don't know. The yarn is Knit Knot Studio in the Emerald Isle colorway. And if you saw my summer sock basket challenge video, this yarn was not included in the yarns that I wanted to use up, but now I'm going to use it up. There's not enough, I don't think, to make a shortie, but I do, because I would rather have it in my blankets. If I just made a shortie, then I would just have a shortie. But my aunt has bigger feet. I don't know if you can tell, but they're bigger than mine. And I wanted to give a nice leg on this. And it uses yarn up a little bit differently than just a vanilla sock because there is this chevron. So there is some bias knitting. So I don't have enough to make a shortie, but I do want to use up that whole bit of yarn by the end of this month. And I think I can do it. I'm actually kind of close. I've put it in a couple blankets now and there's not that much left. I also did use this yarn in the linen stitch blanket. I put in at least 1 stripe, but I think 2 or 3 into there. So that's why I already had less starting out. And the final thing that I want to talk about in this little segment of this video is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. It's the 2nd book in Crescent City. And if I'm being honest, I'm kind of disappointed in the book. Like, I liked the first one so much. I was really intrigued by the story and the characters, and like it hooked me right from the jump. And then like there were big things happening and like twists and turns. And this one, okay, so I am not adverse to to spicy books. I'm not. Not that you've ever seen my bookshelves, but like if you have seen my bookshelves, and you know the books, like some of them are quite spicy. I have literal erotica on my shelf. I'm not opposed to spicy. However, this book is way spicier than the first one. Like the first one had like, I don't know, maybe a sex scene. Not even a real sex scene, like a spicy scene. Like a foreplay scene, maybe. And a lot of tension. And then this book had like 8 sex scenes or something. And not for like plot-driven reasons. And again, I'm not opposed to spice if that's what the book is supposed to be, if it's supposed to be spice. But like, it just felt kind of like wasted space and is already 801 pages. I also feel like the story wasn't as interesting as the first one, and the stakes weren't as high. That's not true. It's not true, but they didn't feel like it. Like I didn't care as much, even though like on a scale of disasters, like things happening in this book were more disastrous. But I didn't care. It's also very, very clear that this, to me, okay, I shouldn't say it's clear. I should say that I think that probably, and I don't know because I haven't looked at any interviews, I haven't read anything about this, but this is my feeling, knowing nothing about it, having done none of my research, looking for no further information. I'm sorry for that sun right there. That's a lot. There we go. I feel like this series was, or this trilogy was written just so that she could make money, not tell a story. Like, I understand the appeal, kind of, but I feel like book number 3 is going to be where, like, the equivalent of where all of the Avengers meet up, and it's just, like, so much chaos and not that much story, and, like, you kind of get to see your favorite characters, but not really, and just, I feel like the third book is going to be like that. Is this harsh? I don't know. I'm not saying don't read it. I'm just saying, like, know what it is before you go into it, maybe. I'm going to read the third one, but probably not until, like, August or September. I'm sorry, the sun is doing a lot right now. She's doing a lot. I guess it's not even her. The clouds are doing a lot right now. They're just dancing up there in the sky. So, yeah. Like, the first book was, like, a super, super enjoyable book. Like, almost, like, on my reading scale, like, the only reason it wasn't a 5-star book was because it was a little niche and I wouldn't just tell anybody to read it. And this is, like, a solid 3. Like, it's fine. I'm not saying it's trash. I just, if it was a standalone book, if it wasn't a part of this trilogy, I'd been like, oh yeah, that was pretty good. But it's not. It's the second book in a trilogy. And I just feel like I was reading a book that, you know what it felt like? It felt like when you are watching something and they're like, based on the characters from, and then a book that you really like. That's what it felt like. So that's why I'm so disappointed in it. I'm still going to read the third one, but my expectations are no longer here. They're like here.
I just looked down at my feet and realized that I hadn't talked about these finished objects. And apparently Lux needs to show off her peats too. On the left, I have Nooch Fiber Arts in Empire. And on the right, I have 716 Knit, 716 Sock in, I Thank you for taking what I said earlier and yelling it back at me. Something like that. Both are shorties. Both are finished objects on their own. They don't have a match. And I have the cutest little co-host. Hi. Knit on US size 0 needles.
Hello, sunshines. A couple finished objects to share with you today. First, Son of the Morning by Akwake Emezi. So this book, not rating it like super, super high. It was okay. It wasn't bad. I didn't dislike it, but I also didn't really like it. Basic premise is Galilee is born into a family of hunters, like demon hunters, and she goes to a party with her very wealthy, that's being held at her very wealthy friend's house. It's not a party, it's a gala, and it's not like a house. It's like a mansion with security and stuff. And the head security guard, they hook up page 20 Spice. And then he turns out to be the devil. I'm not spoiling anything because that's in the synopsis. So, and then all sorts of shenanigans ensue. And I was leaning towards not liking it for the first 150 pages, but not enough to not read it. There were just some things that for me gave me ick. Lucifer starts calling her beloved after they've known each other for 12 hours. When they are having sex, the female anatomy is referred to exclusively as the C word. Yeah, so I was just like, really? That, and she calls him baby, and I don't like that at all. For some reason, babe is fine, but baby, immediate ick. But then page 150 happens, or somewhere about there, and there's a bunch of lore introduced, and it's just very intellectually interesting. And so I did end on liking the book, but not really, really liking the book or loving the book. It's okay. I probably wouldn't reread it. If someone was like, oh, I like paranormal romance with spice, I would be like, oh, well, I read this book and it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. It would be one of those recommendations. And I'd be like, this is what it's about. And, maybe I'm sure other people find this book amazing. I just have certain things about it. But, if you like paranormal romance with some spices, you might want to give it a shot. The other thing that I have finished is my Fiber Nymph Dye Works Luna Moth socks on the Strong DK base. I haven't cleaned out the bag at all. It's still got minis and needles for doing the toes. And I haven't even turned the second sock right side out because I finished it last night. I still need to clip in the ends, but all the ends are woven in. They just need to be clipped. So there's the second sock, all turned inside out. Here is the first sock. I think they turned out beautifully. Hopefully they fit my best friend. Hopefully she likes them. And I don't really have much to say. I didn't use a pattern on this. I just realized that there were skinny stripes, so I knit the first round of the skinny stripe, and I purled the rest of the skinny stripe. And then when it changed color, I immediately went back to stockinette in the round. Can you tell that there are 2 green stripes where it's like the big green section? There's a light green and then like a still pretty light, but like more toward a medium green. I think this colorway is gorgeous. I don't have that much left after making the sock. Definitely not enough to make a Shortie sock. So it's just over a repeat. So I have like maybe this much left. So yeah, that feels like a really good use of a skein of yarn. I'm really excited about that. I think this is going to be my last finished object of the month. I'm not trying to finish anything else. So yeah, right now it's the 27th. So I don't think I'm going to finish anything else. I'm going to finish out this video here and post it because I don't think I'm going to finish anything else. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy this just FO video. I figured that would be the best way to handle this. Oh, I might finish a book. Whatever, it's fine. I'll talk about it on the wrap-up video. Or not the the check-in video, the whip video. I'll check in with it there if I finish that book, but I don't think I'm finishing any more projects. But I hope you have a fantastic rest of May. It's not very much. And I hope that your start of summer is like transition from spring to summer, or your transition from fall to winter is treating you super well, because mine is treating me well. Bye for now, friends.